Here's the second part to the wideband oxygen sensor installation on my 74 Chevy Nova. So without further ado, let's get right to it and show you what I got done. One of the things that held up my installation was finding the correct grommet for my custom installation. So these grommets, after doing some searching, I found them online and I had to special order them and I had to wait till they come in. And you can see that's an 1/8 inch, so that was one parameter that was important to me. The installation portion is 1.25 inches, which is the size of the hole that I decided with. And then in here is 3/4 inch. That was the smallest I can get because I needed it to ensure that it fits over the sensor. Now you can see how tight that fit is, and it has to go past this part, which the width of this is 1 inch. So all I had to do is just pretty much really force it down, and then after I get that passed, I gotta do it again with the other sensor. Now under the car you can see the two sensors hanging down, so those are pretty much ready to be installed. So let's go ahead and look at inside the car. I'm still working with the wiring, but you can see my laptop's here, and the reason why I have the laptop is because I have to make sure that I'm wiring as per the schematics of each thing. So as you can see right here, this is the gauge setup, so I needed to know which wire was which. And the reason why the wideband setup is important because I need to know which display each of these wires go to. If I'm looking to have bank 1, the top display, well, I need to make sure that I go with the right wire. So this helps out a lot when I'm doing the wiring. And then I also have the LC1 schematic so that I make sure to wire it the way I need to wire it. Now other things I needed to worry about was the LEDs. Each one has their own input, and the calibration buttons, each one of those has their own input. So each wire has to be wired separately. I can't just wire both LEDs together because then I won't be able to see what each LC1 is doing. So that just makes more wires to wire up. So here's my setup right here. So I'm still doing the wiring. Here's the grommet. See if we can get a look at that grommet. Here's the grommet setup. You can see I got both of the LC1s situated, and so now all I got to do is just wire all this up and put that grommet, see if I can get you a view, put that grommet in the hole. Well, it's kind of hard to see, but when it's all done I'll give you a look-see. So I just got done tightening out my wideband sensors in their place, and I'll give you a shot of the grommet. Let's see if I can get a clear shot, because I know in the last video the shot wasn't too clear. Let's see. Yeah, you can see the grommet. I think you can see that fairly clearly. So that's the grommet. So the wires, they go up over the tranny and into the shifter area. So now let's look at the top. So here's a shot of the grommet from the top side, and then I got my wideband sensor wires coming through it, and then all the other wires, they actually go through the carpet, and so they're all nicely hidden away under the carpet. So now this here pretty much goes over everything. And so then when I put my chrome piece on there, everything's hidden away. Here's the dashboard, and this is what I wanted the car to look like. It's all hidden away. And so then when I want to check out the gauge, just open up my ashtray, and there it is. Now you'll notice the LEDs, if you paid attention in the beginning, the LEDs were different. I actually had to upgrade LEDs. One of them were defective when I put this whole thing together, and I had to go back to Radio Shack and get some new ones, and they didn't have any of the ones that I bought. So I decided to upgrade to these, and I really like these better. They were slightly larger, but it was no big deal. Just enlarge the holes and stick them in. I think these are better because the resistor was built in, as opposed to the other one, the resistor was external. And I think that's why it was defective. Maybe with all the movement that I was doing while installing them, I must have maybe broke off the resistor or something. But there it is. So now all I gotta do is close it when I don't want to see it anymore. So now it's time to test out the gauge. So I got my keys, and I'm gonna turn it on, and it's gonna start warming up. And when they warm up, these lights actually blink. So this will be the left side, which is the driver's side oxygen sensor, and this one over here is the passenger side oxygen sensor. Now when they're steady, that means that the sensors are warm and it's starting to monitor the air-fuel ratio. So let's see how it works. So there it is, it's starting to warm up. I'll start the car. So the car is on. It's still warming. That looks pretty cool. I like that, the way the lights are blinking. And there it is. They're both warm, and yeah, it's definitely rich. Definitely rich. And this is idle. I have to see how she runs on the road, see where the numbers land. But for idle, I can definitely see that it's rich. So when the light turns green, we'll go through the gears, and we'll just look at the gauge just for record. There we go. Second gear, third gear. Got 30 miles per hour right now. 35. 40. So cruising around 40 miles per hour on a slight incline. So you can see there. I'm going to give a little gas, little acceleration. Starting to slow down again. Getting on the freeway now. Let's see what she does. Punching it. That's 80. So 65 steady cruise. Okay, after playing around with the carb, I wanted to get the smoothest idle possible, and at the same time try to get it as lean as possible. I'm working with what the motor wants and not basically what I want, because I tried to get it leaner than this and the motor didn't like it. So the vacuum is pretty good. That's absolutely the highest vacuum I can get out of the engine at idle. So that's another tool that helped me tune this carb. Now I'm going to put it in drive so you can see where the vacuum lies. There, it's in drive, and it's roughly about 18. So after reviewing the video footage I took of all the runs and the various driving conditions that I put the car through with the new wideband sensor setup, one big red flag was raised, and that was with wide open throttle. It turns out that my car was running very lean on wide open throttle when it should be a lot richer. Just in that alone, being able to see that I was having a lean condition for wide open throttle, that makes it the whole setup, the whole dual wideband setup, worth the hassles and the expense I put into getting it installed on the Nova. Now that I can actually see what the engine's doing, I can prepare and make adjustments to try to, make the engine run a little bit safe. I did play around with the carb settings with what I have now, and I got it a little bit better, but I can probably get it a little bit leaner for the cruise and the power. Maybe just a tad. I don't know. I'm gonna have to try it out. But I need a calibration kit in order for me to play around with different needles and jets. Now for the wide open throttle, I definitely need to upgrade and get a bigger jet so that I can have more fuel flowing into the engine at wide open throttle. So I hope you enjoyed tagging along for, the first part of what I was doing with the wide open throttle, the cruise, all those scenarios that I was trying to put the car under so that I can see what's going on with the engine. It's definitely well worth it to have a wide band oxygen sensor setup, because as you can see, without it, I would have never seen, or probably not known, that I was running lean at wide open throttle. I could have been just driving a car and one day, let's say in the summer, it goes lean and I blow a piston or something. So it was well worth it. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching.